What is happening? So, we've got more Backlash on Chris Nolan and the Odyssey, narrated by Nerdrotic. Let's check this out.
I'm Lupita Nyong'o, and I'm here to talk about seeing Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey in 70mm film. The film is shot entirely with IMAX film cameras on large format film. 70mm film has 5 perforations and runs vertically through the projector, so we can experience this immersive and special cinematic format.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
.com.
Bringing to over 1 million Hellions and the upwards of
my favorite shot from the trailer.
There are around the world for
it's
which none of you are represented or actually in Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, and the 40% who haven't
heard a lot of people was mad about that too. They didn't like that it was Batman-esque.
Subscribed yet. With all the bad ideas going to theatrical or streaming screens this year, including but not limited to The Bride, Return to Silent Hill, The Mandalorian and Grogu, Supergirl, Animal Farm, Black Snape, and while this isn't on screen with the Game of Thrones play Mad King, Black Starks, the last film we expected to be embroiled in a culture war controversy was one by Christopher Nolan, but...
Listen, you hear what he just said? The last film that we expected to be embroiled in this controversy was a film from Christopher Nolan. This whole time, and I've told y'all, you don't know who in Hollywood can be manipulated or under specific contractual obligations to do something. You don't know. So, I remember so many times, Christopher Nolan would never do a movie like that. Okay. That's all I could say to that. Okay. Cool. I'm glad that you think that. See, I didn't think that he would or wouldn't. But what I knew was that we were seeing different actors and different directors starting to put out the garbage that we did not want. Everything under the woke umbrella they have been doing and defending and putting out some of them have put out slander about the fan base. But they're every istophobe in the book just because they don't like what they're putting out. Complete lies. So, well, people been saying that about it. Look, anybody that's their favorite director, they would never do that. You don't know them personally, okay? And sometimes people are fooled even by their own family and closest friends. So, you don't know. You don't know who he's working for. You don't know what. He's working for somebody. He's putting out a vision that certain producers and higher-ups want him to do. He signed on. He didn't have to, but he did. So there you go.
Here we are. Now, a good director always wants to evolve and spread his wings, but I found it odd that Christopher Nolan would take on The Odyssey, a mythological tale that's essentially fantasy. Yes, he has taken on superhero films, but what he did with those was ground them, and hey, 2 out of 3 weren't bad. I just never saw material like this as in his wheelhouse. It would be like Christopher Nolan directing a comedy.
The Ballad of Ricky Bobby is a Christopher Nolan mic drop movie. Is that what you're saying?
If you ain't first, you're last.
But to be fair, we've seen directors like this pull it off before, like when Ridley Scott did Legend, which is an absolute masterpiece. And yes, I said it, it's a masterpiece. Both versions, the one with the Tangerine Dream soundtrack and the one with the Jerry Goldsmith soundtrack. But Nolan, the man famously...
I wasn't allowed to watch it when I was a kid. Grew up in a strict religious household. And I couldn't watch stuff with magic and devils and demons and stuff like that. So I literally never have seen Legend. I've only seen different parts of it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
Known for not owning a cell phone, yet all his assistants...
Here come all the comments. You gotta watch it, Tyrone.
to the auteur who works exclusively for multi-billion-dollar corporations, known for his technical prowess, and even when he takes on fantastic elements, he grounds them in some sort of science, to the point where you have to read a book to completely understand what the hell he was doing at the end of Interstellar, and we're still waiting on that Tenet book, because nobody knows what the hell was going on there, including one of the actors in the film, Robert Pattinson. Nolan also has quite the reputation for cinematic authenticity and immersion.
I remember someone talking trash on Chris Nolan, and they were like, yeah, Chris Nolan likes to put out a movie so complicated. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, yeah, every once in a while, Chris Nolan likes to put out a movie so complicated just to tout how smart he is to everyone else. And I was like, that's funny, because that it does happen. Like, he puts out movies where it's like, wait a minute, wait, what were you doing here? And what specifically did this mean when this happened? So, yeah.
As I've said before, he's the biggest name in Hollywood. It's last star. He's the only person who can consistently get butts and seats on his name alone. And no, you can't count James Cameron. He knew I'd watch this. He knew I'd go to Cameron. I'm like, listen, I don't care what nobody say. Y'all know that if you want to make your money back and make a huge profit, you're signing on Cameron. If someone tasked me with getting something done, and that's almost any movie out there, because Cameron's shown that he can do what he does. Sci-fi, he's done love story, action. You know what I mean? Like, you can't stop him. He don't miss. Didn't he do the first billion-dollar movie? First billion-dollar movie was Titanic, right? I think, yeah. You can't stop this man right here. No matter what you think of his work, the world is telling you otherwise. Only made 3 films in the last 17 years from the same franchise.
Hey, just because he ain't working consistently don't mean he ain't the man. Remember back in the day when you never saw Hulk Hogan? Remember, you watch wrestling, you see Roman Reigns all the time. You had to wait for pay-per-views to see Hulk Hogan. And he might cut a taped promo every once in a while. That don't mean you ain't the man.
And they certainly make a lot of money, and absolutely everybody forgets them by the time they get to their car. Now, you think he would be a little more motivated considering he's got 5 ex-wives to feed. But since the announcement of Lupita...
Yo, when I found out, I just found out literally the other day how many times he had been married. I was like, holy, I had not known that. What is that about being super successful and being married several times? It's not everybody, but it seems to be a lot for people that make a ton of money. I got a friend who don't make a ton of money, who's on her 3rd marriage now. And I just noticed it the other day because I saw it in my Facebook feed, and I was like, okay.
Nyong'o.
I'm Lupita Nyong'o.
I can't pronounce that. Like I said, Lupita Nyong'o playing Helen of Troy and her twin sister, Clytemnestra.
I mean, I am a black woman.
No
Who canonically is it her twin...
You know what's funny? I saw people saying, they were like, weirdly enough, Zendaya is the one out of the whole cast that looks the most Greek. And I was like, I think you're correct. How about that? Even though she's not Greek, there's a lot of people that, of mixed blood that are racially ambiguous. They say that's one of the reasons why Vin Diesel and The Rock are so big, because they're not exactly who you think they are when you first look at them. I remember when the Rock was first blowing up, I had several friends that thought he was Puerto Rican. He does look like he could be Hispanic, right? So it's like when you have that crossover appeal, more people identify with you. You get what I'm saying?
sister, and if she was, why wasn't she the face that launched 1,000 more ships? I've got to know, what does she have, a bad reputation, a venereal disease? Anyway, since that announcement and the possibility of Page playing Achilles or even Elpenor, which wouldn't be good either because he's a dude. Let's just say we've seen clapback to a Christopher Nolan film.
They have been going in on Elliot Page with these AI. Oh my God, look for the compilations. Oh my God.
Of the likes we have never seen before, including the trailer where the last time I did a video, it was overwhelmingly liked, and now it's not ratioed, but it is the most disliked Nolan trailer ever. Additionally, it's almost ratioed in the UK. It is ratioed in Australia. It's overwhelmingly ratioed in Germany. Universal also released some promotional clips, and guess what? The only one that's almost ratioed is the one with Lupita Nyong'o.
When I think about equality or equity, I don't think about taking from a male figure. I think about getting what is due to me.
Additionally, the Odyssey trailer is almost ratioed in the Netherlands and France, but strangely enough, I couldn't find a Universal Pictures Greece, which is a good thing, considering Christopher Nolan and Universal Pictures has managed to piss off an entire country with the Odyssey.
They pissed him off. They said, Chris Nolan, this is going to be a big piece of trash.
And that would be Greece, who felt the need to write an open letter to Christopher Nolan and Universal Studios, reminding them that they still exist, that we did not vanish.
By the way, I'm not going to see this. I think I've already spoken on this a couple of times. I'm tired. I'm really exhausted mentally with certain properties and just certain things. I'm just like, I'm just tired. You know what I mean? Still gonna get movie reviews from me on plenty of other things, but I'm tired. And Chris Nolan, I like him, but not everything lands for me with him, so it's like I don't feel like I'm missing out on nothing.
We are still here for more than 3,000 continuous years. Greek identity has persisted through transformation rather than disappearance. And they don't bring this up because Greek identity is fragile. They bring it up because it is, again, continuous. And my favorite part is the addendum given Hollywood and the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences rules and insistence for minority representation, authenticity, and diversity. Where are the Greeks or the Greek Americans in this Greek story? And they even go so far as to give the cast of the Odyssey with all of their nationalities, including Zendaya, African American, German, and Scottish ancestry, Lupita Nyong'o, Kenyan and Mexican, Charlize Theron, South...
I didn't know she was half Mexican. I did not know that. Wow.
African, John Leguizamo, who's Colombian, Benny Safdie, who is a Syrian Jew, Jovan Adepo, who's Nigerian, and Mia Goth, who's Brazilian. But no Greeks, even though it was filmed there. And now Greece knows what the rest of us know. Hollywood is completely full of shit with their diversity. And again, this isn't a Netflix project.
That's a really damn good point. They push diversity all the time. To the point of nausea, and not one Greek person in the cast. Are you serious? Wow.
Christopher Nolan project. That's why it is surprising that these questions may have to be asked. Will the Odyssey flop, and has Chris Nolan gone full woke Hollywood? We'll deal with the latter first.
I mean, I think we have our answer now. Idris Elba said in an article, and I just did a video on this, not to turn James Bond woke. He used that specific word. And someone said, the fact that he said that lets us know he knows what they've been doing all these years. Exactly. And he's already played several race-swapped characters. So, it's just weird for him to say that. Is he going against his masters? Like, what is he doing saying that, right? Like, it's like, wait a minute, you've played a bunch of race-swapped characters. And their popularity, I don't think should matter. You made it sound like because of how big James Bond is, he shouldn't be race-swapped. I'd argue with that point. I mean, I think that staying fundamentally sound to the character is what matters. Whether it's a comic book that's just starting out or something that's been around for 80 years, I think you should stay true to that character. Like, why does the popularity matter in that case?
Because we're seeing more red flags hoisted up than San Francisco preparing for another Xi Jinping visit. Let's start with the inevitable fan backlash, because it's obviously their fault that Chris Nolan and Universal made a horrible casting decision. Or two, or three, or a few. In Lupita Nyong'o's interview with Elle, it is stated her Helen of Troy is representative of the world. You know, for an industry like activist Hollywood that constantly yammers on about the sins of cultural appropriation, you guys are pretty good at cultural appropriation. When Elle magazine asked Lupita Nyong'o what it means to portray the face that lost that lost 1,000 ships, that launched 1,000 ships, she quickly dismissed the idea. You can't perform beauty. Yeah, you can. She says, I want to know who the character is. What's beyond the beauty? What's beyond the looks? Those are the same thing. That's the thing about doing such a well-known text, one that you hadn't read or known anything about until you started this project, which has been studied and interpreted and derived from, and that's certainly what's happening here. The research could be endless. Or it just could be making shit up. I don't know. The good thing about working with a writer like Chris is that it's on the page. The investigation starts with the pages you're given. That's what I based it on. So she started preparing for the role once she got the script, and in this case, that might be a good thing, considering that she admitted within this Elle magazine interview that she had never heard of the Odyssey until she was offered the role, despite having a master's degree in fine arts from Yale. Aside from the fact that this explains a lot about our American institutional learning facilities.
I was just about to defend her on that. I was about to say, well, you know, not everybody has heard of every single work, you know, no matter what, you know, what you do, but and then he said what she majored in. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Kicked out of 3 high schools, and I've not only heard of the Odyssey, I've actually read it. But Elle magazine
I heard of the Odyssey
of course, framing you, the audience, as the bad guy. After her casting was announced, Nyong'o faced racist critiques about the decision to cast her as a Greek character. But she reminds those who may have forgotten, this is a mythological story. By that logic, I look forward to Chris Pratt being cast as Anansi, the African trickster god. And I'm sure absolutely no one, including Black Twitter, would get upset. Lupita continues, I'm very supportive of Chris's intention with it. That doesn't sound good. And with the version of this story that he is telling, that also doesn't sound good. Our cast is representative of the world. I'm not spending my time thinking of a defense. The criticism will exist whether I engage with it or not. She elaborates on this.
Man, if I was a Hollywood actor, you could not pay me enough to take one of these roles. There's nothing you could pay to have me do it. Nothing. Nothing. Offer me my dream role? No. Offer me $1 billion? No. It's not happening. I could never do something to go against the fans like that and the character. And you know what? Never. Whether it's based on a true story, whether it's fantasy, mythology, no matter. I'm not. And I don't want to be a part of it neither. I don't want to be a side character. I don't want to be an extra. Nothing.
Thought at another point in the conversation, saying it's quite something to be a part of the Odyssey because it is so grand. It spans worlds. So that's why the cast is what it is. We're occupying the epic narrative of our time. An epic narrative that you hadn't heard of until you got the role. Now, one thing that's been overlooked a little bit because of Lupita Nyong'o and Elliot Page is Zendaya being cast as the goddess Athena, which is abysmal casting, but we haven't heard much from her except for this, where she posted a picture of herself holding Frank Herbert's Dune and Emily Wilson's translation of the Odyssey. If you are unaware of Emily Wilson's translation of the Odyssey, it is a translation through a feminist lens. I quote, "The silencing of female voices and dangers of female agency are central problems in the poem." So has Nolan gone full woke Hollywood? It certainly looks that way, and you couple that with the casting of John Leguizamo, who's mostly known for his TDS and not necessarily for his acting skill, Travis Scott, and yes, Elliot Page. All these...
I don't know how John Leguizamo can flip out about representation, when he played Luigi. I don't get it. It just reminds me of Idris Elba saying you shouldn't race swap James Bond, but he played a bunch of race swap characters. It's throwing me off.
Decisions look like what they are, acts of defiance. But the problem is, the true
I defy you.
casting this film
Where'd I get that
accurately
from?
and adapting it
Should know.
accurately. Once again, Christopher Nolan doesn't need to play this game. If he would have cast the Odyssey authentically, he would have still won awards. He's only doing this because he wants to. I do not worship at the altar of Nolan, nor do I hate him. I like a lot of his films. Prestige is one of my all-time favorites, and one of my favorite things about him was...
Man, I tell you this, if I was a director, I'd be more about winning the people, the following, the fans, being true to whatever work of art I'm trying to bring to the screen. To hell with winning an Oscar if those are the rules. Because they changed the rules. Oh, you gotta have this, you gotta have that, you gotta do this, you gotta do... Basically, you gotta woke it up to win an Oscar now. So, he wanted the Oscar that bad, or someone he's working for wanted the Oscar that bad. Say, hey, this is how we gotta do it. So, now, I'd be like, well... Too bad. Guess I don't win no Oscar. But I'll work on making the best movie that I can.
He was a mystery until now. And he's certainly been around long enough to know what the results will be from the intentional subversive casting. Because that's exactly what this is. It isn't a choice based on creativity or inspiration. It's one based on activism. And right on cue, the willing and able comrades in the Access media are here to run defense, and we are in full-blown anti-marketing with a Nolan film, including the biggest butt of a joke in the history of entertainment media, Collider, owned by the Canadian company Valnet. And being owned by a Canadian company should be bad enough, but they also own such citadels of journalism like Screen Rant, Game Rant, and CBR. And their most recent post at time of recording, He-Man's ambitious fantasy reboot is officially turning positive reviews into box office glory and impressive debut. Never mind the fact that whether you like the movie or not, that impressive debut was $29 million, and He-Man is set to be one of the biggest flops of the year. No one, and I mean no one, polishes a knob like Collider, whose Connor Sheeran wrote the insane reactions to Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey are part of a bigger problem Hollywood can ignore. We can at least agree on the statement, not the summation. He goes on to state that Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is already a victim of the negative economy. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is already a contributor to the negative economy. Now, it wouldn't be a Collider article about entertainment if they weren't bringing up how much they hate the Star Wars fans, and I'm glad they didn't change it here. Every casting rumor, cameo, or narrative decision in the series became a battleground for online discourse. Star Wars fans became less concerned with quality of the stories and more interested in the ongoing culture war surrounding ownership of the beloved franchises. At best, they're being disingenuous. At worst, they're a bunch of liars. I think they're actually both. What the fans are really good at and Collider is really bad at is pattern recognition, and that's simply what we're seeing here. It's always been about the quality and authenticity.
And pattern recognition is a really popular term right now because of all of this going on right now. The fans, like, you've conditioned them to know exactly what they're going to see with even the slightest hint of what it might be. And the majority of the time, the fans are correct. When they smell woke, it usually is. Every once in a while, it isn't. Like Ballerina, like Furiosa, I keep hearing. First of all, I saw Ballerinas. I know that's not woke. Furiosa I didn't see, but trusted sources say it isn't. So, however, because they were conditioned so much, they right away they're ready to snap because they know what certain movies, TV shows, video games, comic books, they know what they include. They know how you advertise them. They can see it. Their mind, their conscious and subconscious, gets to work to piecing things together in a trailer. They're like, okay, right. They're already figuring it out. And whoo, boy,
They go together. The Odyssey is the latest in which audiences have begun judging the film prematurely by criticizing scenes, casting, costumes, and dialogue without the context needed to make sure such criticism is meaningful. Well, Connor must be...
You know what? And that reminds me of the whole, people do this with gaming. Well, you haven't even played the game yet. Look, to me, that feels like a bot type of comment, because I have to buy the game to play it. You get my money, and once we know what's going to happen, does happen when it happens, and we know the game is all effed up in modern audience, we can't get our money back. You know what I'm saying? We know trailers are put out so that you know what you're getting yourself into, so you know whether you want to spend your money or not. Movie trailers are like that, television show trailers, video game trailers, they all let you know what they're going to be before you get there. You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while you have something that's cryptic and you don't really know what it's going to be about. But the majority of the time they tell you who they are before you spend your money. So, no.
New around here because fans and audience members alike have been judging trailers since they invented trailers, but when our eyes see the Lesbrigonians wearing steel armor in the Bronze Age, maybe we need more context. Lighter asks, has outrage become the defining language of entertainment criticism? I will respond that outrage has become the defining element of Hollywood entertainment. Again, nobody's hiring John Leguizamo or Elliot Page on their acting skills. They're hired on their activist skills, which is a bit strange with Elliot Page considering it's acting on its free time.
But wait!
There's more! And one thing I would say, too, also, I know some people will say, well, you can't blame the actors. Oh, I think as things have gone on and you've heard these actors' interviews, you've read these actors' interviews, these producers' interviews, these directors' interviews, you know they know what they're getting into. It's not they're like, oh, hey, you're doing that movie? Okay, I'll do it. No, they know exactly what they're getting themselves into. So, you know.
Newsweek, Christopher Nolan's Odyssey swept up in the culture wars. From the Menses at comingsoon.net, the Odyssey's casting backlash doesn't hold up under any scrutiny. Sure, aside from the fact that Helena Troy isn't from Kenya, Athena is an African American, and Emmaus wasn't Colombian because I'm pretty sure Homer wasn't aware of the Americas.
Don't create great Latin roles. How are we going to get nominated?
And my personal favorite from Vanity Fair, why can't Elon Musk just shut up and stuff about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey? Then, of course, there was that GQ photo shoot that didn't help anything.
The world is burning.
Yo, wait, I'm going to see if they show the pose that Matt Damon was doing. I was like, oh my God. Come on, show it. No, not that one. No.
Just want to.
He didn't show it.
Matt Damon tried
There it
to be gay in this photo shoot. He clearly isn't. Anyway, considering the of Greek representation,
I gotta run that back. What'd you
let's
say?
hear from some of the adult pretenders who are. Just want to point out that even when Matt Damon tries to act gay in this photo shoot, he clearly isn't. Anyway, considering the complete lack of Greek representation in the Odyssey, let's hear from some of the adult pretenders who are in the film and hear in their own words how they feel about representation, diversity, and more importantly, inclusivity. Now, with this first one, replace the word Latin with Greek.
If you don't create great Latin roles, how are we going to get nominated? If you don't tell Latin stories, how do we get nominated? It's impossible, you know?
No shit.
When I think about equality or equity, I don't think about taking from a male figure.
But apparently taking from the Greeks is okay.
I think about getting what is due to me.
You gotta be f***ing kidding.
Worthy value that was of integral part of the plot that could give you box office. So, appropriating a
It's
story
literally the first time I've ever seen him dressed like that. Ever.
is no more of that.
By that logic,
Or
I
in a
think
very
it's okay
long
to start
time.
casting Greeks as booger sugar smugglers.
And so it's a time to actually see to it that we have that diversity, that we have that inclusion, and it's in who has the power to cast. It's in who is telling the story to begin with. what is the origin of it? Because when the people who know the experience.
And again, using your logic and your terminology and the mantra that Hollywood has been running with for years of diversity, inclusion, and authentic voices, well, that would be the Greeks. The low-hanging fruit of Hollywood hypocrisy. A content creator's favorite treat. Now, I also want to remind you that when people tell you who they are, believe them.
It's an honor to be your ally. Now let's tear this world apart and build a better one.
And Hollywood's going to make the world a better place with a black Helena Troy, a dude who isn't a dude playing a dude, and a Colombian playing a Greek swineherder. Now Nolan, being a smart man, really hasn't said anything controversial or anything.
Some reading that smell just like below me.
You can read into except for maybe this. If you love movies, if you love Hollywood, the history of Hollywood, the history of movies, how about the history of Greece? The thing that you understand in your bones is that what the audience wants is something new. They want something they don't know they want. Now, if it came from anybody else, I would say this is a red flag, but I still give Christopher Nolan the benefit of the doubt. For now, and maybe I'm being a sweet summer child on this, but...
Yes, you are, sir!
He is the only person in Hollywood who's earned it with me. But it doesn't change the fact that the Odyssey is going to be the pop cultural shit show of the year. And no, we still don't know who Elliot Page is playing, and I guess it all hinges on that. But still, we're going to have history bros versus Nolan bros. Somehow the Snyder bros will get involved. We'll have culture warrior commentators and right-wing political commentators who will take time out from their bad...
Ooh, when this movie comes out, oh my God. I can't wait for the reviews. I can't wait.
Political takes to give bad pop culture takes. And the left-wing political commentators on Twitch will take time out from constantly talking about each other, suing each other, or eating their nuggies while they're stealing content so they can give us bad pop culture takes. It'll be fun. It might actually be more entertaining than the Odyssey itself. But will all of this affect the film?
It's kind of like The Acolyte. Watching all the YouTube videos was more entertaining than watching The Acolyte itself. Did you hear Leslie Headland still wants to do a season 2?
Will Christopher Nolan's Odyssey flop? Well, sorry to keep you waiting on this, but...
Well, I was going to say hell yeah, or hell if I know. This could be his Last Jedi. Because The Last Jedi didn't flop. However, as horrible as it was, it didn't flop. But it let the fans know for real what they were doing. So it has a certain amount of popularity armor to protect it. I believe Nolan has popularity armor. I don't believe he has the popularity armor that Star Wars did. We're going to see if his popularity is enough. Because with The Last Jedi, nobody knew what they were going to do. Everyone knows what they're doing with this. So the word is out and it's spreading like a rash across humanity. So we'll see what happens.
Oh no, keep in mind that Christopher Nolan's arguably worst film, Tenet, did $365 million worldwide when half of the world's theaters were shut down, maybe more, and people thought they might actually die from a cold. And when the Odyssey tickets went on sale for the 70mm shows and the prestige format shows, people were waiting upwards of an hour. I guess the real question is, will it underperform? It is the most expensive Nolan film ever made with a budget of $250 million, and I think that's unlikely to happen. I think this thing hits profitability pretty quickly, and I have a good friend who will remain nameless who owns a Christopher Nolan body pillow who will personally make sure it hits at least $800 million. I, for one, am hoping we get a Christopher...
It took me a second to figure out who that was.
Nolan head popcorn bucket. Just make sure it's really, really big. And the only question left to ponder until the Odyssey comes out is, will it be good or will it suck? Which I think is likely, but the one thing I hope I answered was, the Odyssey is not going to be a flop unless I'm completely wrong, and feel free to call me out on that one. And Nolan has leaned into his own unintentional meme.
It's not about money. It's about sending a message.
nerdrotic.com.
Oh yeah, it's about leaving a message. The message. Well, Go over and subscribe to Nerd Rock. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. I hope you have enjoyed your time watching my commentary and reaction. If you have, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And I will see you in the next video. 10 million subscribers. Woo!